I stand here before you today, holding back from watery eyes, with this eulogy prepared of not a human, but of a dog. Now, most of you probably find this strange or think that the eulogy won't be the same. However, most of you didn't know Buddy. Buddy was not my grandmother's pet. He was my best friend. Through all the years, through everything I went through, he was there like no other. Now, one quality that everybody knows that dogs have is that they are loyal. Buddy was no exception. In fact, he's possibly the most loyal being that I had ever met. But let's start from the beginning. The year was 1999. I was staying at my grandparents' house while my parents had to work rather than daycare, and there were no other children to play with, and my sister was still an infant, so for the most part, I kept to myself. Now, as cliche as this might all sound, one bright spring day, my life changed forever. When I arrived at my grandparents' house to see that they had got a brand new mixed breed puppy. Now, I don't remember everything from back then, but I do remember one thing. We were instantly friends. And a common synonym for friend is buddy, so I called him my buddy, and that name just sort of stuck. Now, over time, our friendship continued to grow to the point where I could just be sitting on the front porch steps by myself, and Buddy would come up behind me and use his head to sort of lift my arm up so, I could rest it on his back. And I may not have realized that at the time, but he truly loved me. And it was one day, I remember, when I was in my grandparents' backyard, where I may have come to this realization. I was sitting there unattended when my uncle, who was a stranger to Buddy at the time, came up to the back gate and was going to come in. But Buddy was not going to have it. He was going to protect me. He barked and growled, and for all he knew, he was putting his life on the line to protect me from some stranger. We had to wait for my grandparents to come out for him to finally be able to come in. Now, this was not a singular incident. Many others of various severities occurred. I remember one day, when I was real little, I was like terrified of bees because they sting you and that hurts. And I guess somehow he knew this, so when we were sort of playing around, throwing catch with a ball and stuff, there was like this bee that wouldn't leave us alone. It sort of just kept buzzing around me, and then I would stop playing ball. And Buddy snatched him out of the air with his mouth. And yeah, the bee did end up stinging his tongue, and I had to go get my grandmother, but Buddy didn't even whimper. He just sort of followed me to my grandmother, and then he wanted to lick my face and go back to playing. And, well, luckily, there was never anything too severe that happened, like no life-threatening situations where we actually put in. But I truly believe that if we were, Buddy would have truly gave his life just to save me, as I would have probably gave my life to save him. So, what I'm trying to say is that Buddy was not just some pet. He was a loyal friend. A better loyal friend than more people are ever rewarded enough to see in their lifetime. Unfortunately, he passed away this past spring, but I will never forget all the fun times we had, the laughs we shared. and I will never forget the lesson of loyalty that he has taught.